Hello. So today we will discuss the side determination, the main features and the attachments of scapula.
This is a scapula bone. Scapula is also called as shoulder blade and it is present on the posterolateral aspect of thorax. That means it is present here on the posterolateral aspect of thorax and it extends from second to seventh rib. Upper margin is on second rib and lower margin is on seventh rib. Now, as you can see, it is a flat, large and triangular bone. Its shape is triangle. It is a flat type of bone and it is a large bone. Now, being triangular in shape, it is having three angles, three borders and two surfaces as it is flat. Flat hai, so it is having two surfaces, three angles, three borders and also it is having three processes. Now, the surfaces of scapula are first this one. This is a flattened surface, concave in shape and it is faced anteriorly. So this is the ventral aspect of scapula. Now this is the posterior surface. How we can determine which one is posterior surface? On the posterior surface, a shelf-like projection is present, this one. Whereas anterior surface is concave, it is hollow out. So this is the ventral aspect and this is the dorsal aspect of scapula. Now I said it is triangular in shape, so having three angles. Now three angles are superior, inferior and lateral. Now how to identify them? The lateral angle is this one, a pear-shaped cavity. This pear-shaped cavity is also called as glenoid cavity and it is present towards lateral side. So this is also called as lateral angle, also called as glenoidal angle. It is present laterally. This angle is superior angle and the one forming the apex of triangle is the inferior angle. Now the borders. The border connecting superior to inferior angle is the medial border. The border below the lateral angle, that is the glenoid cavity, is the lateral border. It is the thickest border of all the borders and the border which is lying horizontally is the superior border. So three borders, three angles, two surfaces. Now the processes, three processes are present on scapula. First one is this, which was present on dorsal surface and it is called as spine or spinous process of scapula. You can see that it is a shelf-like projection projecting backwards from the dorsal surface. Now the continuation of this shelf-like process, this one, a quadrilateral plate-like structure, this process is called as acromion process. Another process which is present just above the glenoid cavity, this one, pointing process, is called as coracoid process. So coracoid, acromion and spine. So these are the main features of scapula, how to identify the bone. Now how to determine the side of the bone. For determining the side of the bone, you have to keep the glenoid cavity facing laterally and the spine facing posteriorly. The glenoid cavity laterally and the spine posteriorly. So this is the side determination of the bone. It is lateral, it is posterior, this is anterior, medial. So this bone is of right side. Now how to hold the bone in anatomical position? To hold the bone in anatomical position, we have to hold the bone like this. And the direction of glenoid cavity is lateral, forwards and somewhat upwards. It is tilted like this. Scapula is not present straight in our body. It is obliquely placed by making an angle of around 45 degrees with the coronal plane so that the direction of glenoid cavity is laterally forwards and slightly upwards. The anterior surface is facing forwards and medially and the coracoid process is facing forwards. So this is the anatomical position of scapula. This bone is of right side. So we have to hold this bone in right hand only. After the side determination and anatomical position of the bone, we will identify the features and the attachments present on the features. First of all, we will come on the surfaces. As we have seen, this concave surface, which is the anterior surface, is also called as costal surface. You can see this is concave and is hollow out. Now on this hollow, we can see some ridges, oblique ridges are present. Near to the lateral border, that is this border, a elevated ridge-like structure is present, and on the whole surface, a muscle is attached which is called as subscapularis muscle. Now the subscapularis muscle is attached onto the whole surface of costal surface, whole part of costal surface, except leaving a part near the neck of scapula. Now what is neck? Glenoid cavity is also referred to as the head of scapula, and the part just below to the glenoid cavity, that is the constricted part of scapula of scapula's body, is called as neck. So this part is neck, and the muscle attachment of subscapularis does not extend here. In fact, this part, when the tendon of subscapularis passes, the fibers arises like this and it passes like this, then here a bursa is present which is called as subscapularis bursa. Now on this surface only, near to medial border, that means onto the anterior aspect of medial border, insertion of serratus anterior muscle is there. Now how the serratus anterior muscle is attached? The serratus anterior muscle takes origin from the 8 ribs in the form of 8 digitations. So its insertion is also in the form of 8 digitations, and these digitations are inserted like as onto the anterior surface of medial border. The first and second digitation are inserted from the superior angle up to the root of spine, opposite the root of spine. Then after that, third and fourth digitation are attached onto the medial border below that, and near the inferior angle, 5th to 8th digitations are inserted. So in this way, serratus anterior is attached on the whole border, on the whole, anterior aspect of whole medial border. Now next we come to the posterior surface, that is this one. Now the posterior surface, as we know, the spinous process is attached onto the posterior surface. Due to this attachment, the whole of the surface is divided into 2 fossas. The upper one, the smaller one, is called as supraspinous fossa, and the lower one, this one, is called as infraspinous fossa, superior to spine and inferior to spine. Now the attachment on supraspinous fossa like this, the origin of supraspinatus muscle takes place. The fibers are attached onto the supraspinous fossa and also onto the superior surface of spine. The spine is like this, one surface is this one and one surface is below. So the muscle's origin also extends onto the superior surface of spinous process. Similar way, onto the infraspinous fossa, the infraspinatus muscle is attached and origin extending up to the inferior surface of spinous process. So the fossa's name is supraspinous fossa, the muscle attaching or taking origin supraspinatus. The fossa below to the spine is called as infraspinous fossa, and the muscle taking origin from this fossa is infraspinatus muscle. Now on the dorsal aspect, near to the medial and lateral border, some muscles are attaching, like near the medial border. Now medial border is towards the vertebral bodies, towards the vertebral column. So here the muscles are present which attach the scapula to the vertebral column. First of all, the muscle inserting on the medial border posterior aspect from the superior angle up to the apex of spine's upper part. This is the spine and this tip is called as its apex. Apex के upper part से लेके superior angle तक the muscle inserting here is called as levator scapulae. This muscle helps to elevate scapula. That's why this name is levator scapulae. Then opposite this point, that is opposite the apex, here insertion of rhomboideus minor muscle is there. Rhomboideus minor muscle. And then below to the apex, then up to the inferior angle, this one, on the whole border, the insertion of rhomboideus major is there. Minor is above and major is below. And levator scapulae topmost. Levator scapulae, rhomboideus minor and then rhomboideus major. Opposite to this, serratus anterior insertion is there. So, on the whole medial border, the muscles are inserting. Now, on this surface only, near to the lateral border, the origin is there and origin of like this, two muscles are taking origin. From upper to lower part, the teres minor and below that, the teres major. Onto the inferior angle, some fibers of latissimus dorsi are attached, taking origin of some fibers of latissimus dorsi is there. Latissimus dorsi is a muscle of lower back. It is coming from the back, the fibers are coming, it is covering the inferior angle, plus some fibers are attached on this angle. So just remember, lateral border is hole for insertion and medial border origin. Above minor on both the borders and below major. After this, we will come to glenoid cavity. Now, glenoid cavity is a pear-shaped impression. Above to this cavity, a tubercle is present and below also a tubercle is present. The above tubercle is called as supraglenoid tubercle and below tubercle is called as infraglenoid tubercle. Now, the attachment on these tubercles, onto the infraglenoid tubercle, long head of triceps brachii muscle is attached. It is taking the origin of long head of triceps brachii. From the supraglenoid tubercle, origin of long head of biceps brachii. Both muscles long head, biceps come before in the alphabetical order, so biceps above and triceps below. Now on the glenoid cavity, a fibrous rim-like structure is attached, which is called as glenoidal labrum. Labrum is a fibrous rim that is used to deepen this cavity to form the shoulder joint or glenohumeral articulation. Apart from the margin of labrum, the capsule of the shoulder joint is attached and the origin of long head of biceps brachii is intracapsular. That means the capsule margin attachment or capsule's attachment is beyond the supraglenoid tubercle. That is, it is attaching just above like this. Now, we will come near the superior border. Superior border, you can see here, it is showing a notch-like structure. This notch is called as suprascapular notch. Suprascapular notch is converted into a foramen with the help of a ligament which is called as suprascapular ligament. The foramen is named as suprascapular foramen. The structures passing through this foramen is suprascapular nerve and suprascapular vessels are passing above the ligament. So, vessels above the ligament and nerve from the foramen. Near to this notch on the superior border, another muscle is taking origin which is called as inferior belly of omohyoid. Inferior belly of omohyoid muscle. Now, the nerve passes through this foramen and the vessels passes above the foramen. After passing from this foramen, the structures pass on to the supraspinous fossa, then from this notch. Now what is this notch called as? It is called as spinoglenoid notch. Why spinoglenoid? Because it is in between the spinous process and in between the glenoid cavity. So this notch is called as spinoglenoid notch. Both the structures which are coming through the suprascapular foramen and above the ligament passes through this notch. This notch is again converted into a foramen with the help of a ligament which is called as a spinoglenoid ligament, and both the nerve and vessels passes through this foramen and they come to the infraspinous fossa then. After that comes the processes. First of all, the acromion process, which is continuous with the spinous process. Now the acromion process is this flat bone. It is having two borders. When we see in the anatomical position, the two borders, two surfaces. This surface is called as superior surface and this surface is called as inferior surface. The two borders, which is outward, is the lateral border and which is inward is the medial border. The two borders are meeting at the apex of acromion process. Now beyond, when going below from the acromion process, we come to spine. Spinous process is having three borders. The posterior border, which is seen like this. It is also called as crest of spine and it is divided into two lips. The upper lip, which is continuous with the medial border of acromion process, and the lower lip, which is continuous with the lateral border of acromion process at this angle. This knobbed angle is called as acromial angle and it is a very prominent surface landmark on the top of shoulder. The anterior border of spinous process is fused to the body of scapula and the lateral border is this one, which is forming the margin of spinoglenoid notch. The two surfaces already studied with the fossa, supraspinous and infraspinous, and attachment also shown there. So these are the two surfaces of spinous process. Now talking about the attachment, onto the lower lip of spine, this one, on the lower lip of crest of spine, deltoid muscle takes origin from the whole of the lower lip, extending onto the lateral border of acromion process. Like this, the deltoid starts its origin from the lower lip, continuing onto the lateral border of acromion process. On the upper lip of crest of spine, insertion of trapezius muscle takes place, like this, which is continuous onto the medial border, leaving a small space on the medial border where articular facet is present, which articulates with the clavicle bone to form acromioclavicular joint. So deltoid origin from the lower lip, continuing on the acromion process, and trapezius insertion onto the upper lip, continuing onto the medial border. The superior surface of acromion process, it is subcutaneous. We can feel on the top of shoulder, so no muscle attachment is here. The lower surface is smooth and it forms a part of the coracoacromial arch. Coracoacromial arch is an arch formed by acromion process, coracoid process and a ligament, coracoacromial ligament, and it helps in the stability of the shoulder joint. So this part forms a part of coracoacromial arch. No muscle attachment, just it is related to some bursas and tendons of muscles passing, that is from here to here. After that, onto the tip of acromion process, the meeting point of medial and lateral border, the ligament, coracoacromial ligament is attached. Coracoacromial means ligament connecting coracoid process and the acromion process. It is attached onto the tip of acromion process. After that, the third process, which is the coracoid process. Actually, coracoid process in humans is an atavistic epiphysis. In reptiles, it was a separate bone. The epiphysis forms a separate bone, but during morphological evolution, the epiphysis of coracoid process gets incorporated into the scapula, and thus it is classified as atavistic epiphysis. Now the coracoid process, it is giving attachment to 6 structures, and the 6 structures are 3 muscles and 3 ligaments. The 3 muscles are pectoralis minor, coracobrachialis, and short head of biceps brachii. Origin to short head of biceps brachii and coracobrachialis, and insertion to pectoralis minor muscle. 3 ligaments are also attached. First one is coracoacromial ligament, second is coracohumeral ligament, and third one is coracoclavicular ligament. So these 6 structures are attached onto the coracoid process. From the tip of coracoid process, you can see that coracoid process is divided into 2 parts. First, it is ascending like this horizontally, then it is twisting like this and going like this. So the apex is called as tip. On the tip, the origin of short head of biceps brachii with coracobrachialis takes place. Onto the medial border, that means this border, the insertion of pectoralis minor takes place. Now, the coracoacromial ligament, the coracohumeral ligament, and the coracoclavicular ligament. Coracoclavicular ligament, we have learned with clavicle, is having 2 parts, the conoid part and the trapezoid part. The conoid part is attached here onto the knobbed area where the horizontal part is turning, twisting, and the trapezoid part is attached onto the superior surface of coracoid process. Onto the medial border, the 2 ligaments, coracoacromial ligament and the coracohumeral ligament, are attached. So coracoacromial ligament is in between these 2 processes. Coracoclavicular ligament, clavicle is attaching from here in this form. So coracoclavicular ligament between these 2 structures, and coracohumeral between the coracoid process and the humerus bone. So these were all the structures which are attaching onto the scapula. In a quick recap, just to enumerate the names of the muscles, I repeat: on the anterior side, subscapularis, near to the medial border, insertion of serratus anterior. Onto the posterior surface, upper part, origin of supraspinatus, lower part, origin of infraspinatus. Near to the medial border, insertion to levator scapulae, then rhomboideus minor, then rhomboideus major. On the inferior angle, latissimus dorsi origin. On the lateral border, above to the rhomboideus, teres minor, and below to the teres major. Glenoid cavity, upper part of glenoid cavity, supraglenoid tubercle, gives origin to long head of biceps brachii, and infraglenoid tubercle gives origin to long head of triceps brachii. Onto the spine, on the upper border of spine, crest of spine, trapezius insertion, and on the lower border of crest of spine, origin of deltoid, extending onto the acromion process. On the tip of acromion process, coracoacromial ligament. On the coracoid process, 3 muscles, 2 origin, coracobrachialis and short head of biceps brachii, and insertion of pectoralis minor. 3 ligaments, coracoacromial ligament, coracohumeral ligament, and coracoclavicular ligament. Near to the superior border, origin to the inferior belly of omohyoid muscle. 2 more ligaments, one converting the suprascapular foramen into a suprascapular notch into a foramen, the suprascapular ligament, and another one converting the spinoglenoid notch into foramen, the spinoglenoid ligament. Capsule and labrum are attached onto the glenoid cavity.
So this was all about scapula. I hope you all are liking the videos. So please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.